Hello everyone, it's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. 2 days ago, Aptera put out this press release, and let's go over it together. Industry 4.0, Aptera and Red Viking revolutionize manufacturing. This is dated May 27th, 2022. Aptera and Red Viking usher in a new era of automotive assembly, announcing a supply agreement for all AGVs, automated guided vehicles, for Aptera's final vehicle assembly. This supply agreement represents significant forward momentum as Aptera rapidly scales to the final production stage. Red Viking's AGV mobile production platform is versatile, flexible, expandable, and can be easily relocated. There are no building modifications required, allowing changes to happen quickly from a clean, flat floor and a quiet environment. Charging of the AGVs occurs when the vehicles are stationary, allowing them to charge while work is completed. This AGV technology will enable Aptera to expand its efficiency first ethos to the manufacturing cycle. With this partnership in place, Aptera remains confident in meeting its pre-production and production timelines. At Aptera, we are reinventing transportation, going where no other automaker has gone before. Likewise, Red Viking is innovating beyond the status quo, ushering in manufacturing 4.0. We are proud to be a partner with a like-minded company as we push past what others deem possible. For well over 30 years, Red Viking has been a leader in advancing industrial technology solutions. Perhaps more important than the solutions themselves are the partnerships we established as a result. The synergies between Red Viking and Aptera align flawlessly and will produce its first of its kind manufacturing process. As Aptera's innovative product strategy to clean energy transition unfolds, we look forward to expanding our partnership in the years to come. All right, so after I read this, um, I wanted to know who's Red Viking, what is Industry 4.0, what exactly is an AGV, and why did they decide to go that route? All right, so I did a little bit of digging, and I found the best information about this Industry 4.0 from IBM. And this is a little historical context, which I think is always really nice to get historical context uh, to understand anything. Industry 4.0 basically refers to the fourth industrial revolution. They're saying the first industrial revolution was in the late 18th century in Britain when they started using water and steam power instead of human and animal power. Then the second industrial revolution was when we started using electricity, essentially. And then that allowed things like telephone and telegraph that would give you communication to your suppliers and things like that. Then the third industrial revolution, which began in the 20th century, mid to late 20th century, that's when they started adding computers and programmable logic controllers into the machinery to help automate some of the processes. And now we are in the fourth industrial revolution, which they're saying it's kind of like the Internet of Things, where the machines kind of talk to each other and they have more automation because they don't need as much human input because they can talk to each other and they can achieve efficiency and collect more data. So this requires a bunch of sensors to talk to each other. What are the technologies that are driving this? The Internet of Things. So that means that the machines all are enabled with the web and they have a way of talking to each other. Cloud computing lets you centralize the information of the sensors that are being gathered. And AI and machine learning. Edge computing means that you have the computing that real-time processes the information that's coming from the sensors on the factory floor. Cybersecurity, and then this is the most interesting thing, I think, is a digital twin. What it is they make a simulated assembly line that pulls information from all the sensors on the actual assembly line, and then you can play with it virtually to see what you can do to optimize the flow. So what it requires first, this smart factory, is you need data analysis so you can make decisions about how to maximize efficiency and also to get the supply chain in order. And then you integrate the information technology with the object technology. And sometimes you can allow for custom manufacturing. Maybe Aptera will do that. And then you have this thing talk directly to your supply chain so you can inform your supply chain. So that's what Industry 4.0 was. In terms of what is Red Viking was started in 1981 by Dave Emmett, one of the original designers of this programmable logic controller. Remember, that was Industry 3.0 was the programmable logic controller in the kind of mid to late 20th century. Then they started, Red Viking was originally like a defense contractor, helping with helicopters. And then they merged in 2014 and they have lots of experience. And the things that they do is okay, well, here's some information from Zoom Info about them. They have about 160 employees and revenues of 31 million. I saw another website where they said the revenue is about 60 million. So anyway, they're not a huge company, but they've been around. They're a very well-established company. They have a couple of competitors like Eckhart, IDC Corporation, Oceaneering. But I looked at them, and Red Viking seems like they are probably the best position for what Aptera needs. And what they do is they do a bunch of engineering services, and they can do basically this is what they would do. They can design your entire assembly line for you, or help you design and complete your entire assembly line. So I think I'm guessing Monroe and Associates were somewhat involved in picking Red Viking. I'm not sure, but Monroe makes your device kind of easy to manufacture, and then Red Viking can actually give you the equipment and the and kind of the logistics of setting up your assembly line to make it work. So they have all these manufacturing solutions. So these are AGVs. We'll go into them. They also do operational intelligence, which means they have all this technology stuff. These are the sensors for giving you information on how your assembly line is performing. And so they run the complete gamut. And so for automotive OEMs and suppliers, they supply automated guided vehicles, and we'll see why that these are good. And that's definitely what they're saying they're getting, you know. They had a supply agreement for all AGVs, so they're definitely getting AGVs from them. I don't know if they're getting the operational intelligence stuff from them. I suspect they might. And so they're doing this and flexible turnkey assembly line. So they will do a complete engineering study of your current process and your goals for a new assembly line. And then they'll starting with a greenfield or brownfield site. So greenfield means that it's a blank slate and they're going to start from the ground zero. Brownfield means you have an assembly line already in process and they will tell you how to modify it. All right, so what are these AGVs? AGVs, like the name says, are these automated guided vehicles. There's many different types. There's these automated guided carts, which work in warehouses and just carry stuff around. There's tons of these at all the Amazon warehouses. There's forklift AGVs. They're just basically forklifts that don't require a human operator. Towing AGVs, these are like little trains that pull things. Unit load handlers. Um, and this is maybe Aptera is using one of these unit load handlers because I don't think they need a heavy burden carrier. It's because it's not that heavy. And then autonomous mobile robots. But I don't know if that's what Aptera is getting. If you look at their picture, their 3D renders, these are the AGVs. And I don't know if this is exactly what they're going to look like, but this is the 3D render. And they have another 3D render here. These are the little things. And so what are the advantages of this AGV? Well, the AGV, so before they have AGVs, the assembly line used a conveyor belt system. They had some kind of conveyance system, which was like a chain or belt drive or like a railroad track. And basically they had to install it within the factory and it would carry the vehicles as they were being manufactured. The downside of that is like imagine that there's a track here. If you wanted to cross to the other side, you'd have to walk around the track and it was kind of a little bit dangerous. It was a tripping hazard and things like this. These AGVs have a bunch of safety sensors so they don't run over things. And so the workers can walk between the things. And if you wanted to reconfigure your line, like you want to split the line in two, or you want to have it route a different way through the factory, if you had a conveyor belt system, you'd have to redo the entire infrastructure of the factory. With these, you just program them and they just like go a different way. So it makes these very flexible and you can add capacity. And let's say you wanted to move to another location, you can just move these AGVs to another location. You don't need to, it doesn't require that much investment into the actual infrastructure of the building. And so once you have a process with these AGVs, you can open up new microfactories fairly easily, and that's Aptera's plan. So without a lot of build out of the actual building. You don't have to build tracks in them or put up beams or anything like that. You can just buy a bunch of these AGVs and put them in there. The other thing I noticed about Red Viking is they allow rental of the AGVs rather than outright buying them, and that's a lot less capital intensive. I suspect that's what Aptera is doing. initially, that they're going to rent these things because it'll be because I'm guessing these things are very expensive. They're going to rent them initially until they build up enough capital that they can buy them outright. That's just a guess, pure speculation. But the advantages of the AGVs are they are safer for the workers, they require less build out of the building, and they make the assembly line process much more flexible. So very interesting. What this tells me is that definitely Aptera is moving past the design phase. They're doing it concurrently, but they're getting geared up for production. They're buying production equipment. So the AGV is completely worthless for making prototypes. I mean, this is for mass production. AGVs are only important if you want to mass produce. And the fact that they've signed an agreement for AGVs means that they are already looking towards mass production right now. So they're doing a lot of things in parallel. They're finishing up their engineering, they're making their production intent vehicle, and they're gearing up for mass production, which I think is a great sign. So tell me how you guys are interpreting this. Is my interpretation correct, you think? Um, and let me know in the comments what your thoughts on all this are. And thanks again to all of our supporting members. And thanks to all you guys for viewing and commenting. And have a great day.